Photoshop CS3 also includes a really cool auto crop and straighten feature that I'd like to show you how to use now. So let's go ahead and double click on the Chapter 13 folder here in Bridge. And I'm going to go into the auto cropping and straightening folder, double click that. And then we have this groupscan.psd. We can increase the thumbnail size here. You can see what we have. What this is actually a couple of photos that were placed on a flatbed scanner and scanned in a group, scanned all at once. So I'm sure you've done this if you've ever worked with any printed images that needed to be scanned in. It makes more sense to just put a bunch of them on the flatbed, scan them at once, but they're not always straight when you do that. Sometimes when you close the scanner cover, they tend to jiggle around a bit. These ones are pretty severely off-center, not centered at all, and that's okay because we're going to let Photoshop actually do the work for us here. That's why we're in the automation chapter. We're learning how to use Photoshop to maximize our production workflow and do all this grunt work for us. So let's go ahead and double-click this guy and open him up here in Photoshop. These are just a couple of basic home images of mine that I use just for demonstration purposes. Obviously, if you were putting together a catalog or some sort of high-end print design, you'd probably have much different images, but just for demonstration purposes, I grabbed a couple of pictures off the fridge, and I've got my nephew Tryon here up on the top and my son Enzo down on the bottom, and a couple of the dogs at daycare. I'm not actually sure what their names are. I think one is Cody, so say hello to my family members here, and we're going to actually use this group scan here to demonstrate how we can make Photoshop auto crop and straighten these photos, okay? Again, all I did was put these on the scanner, scan them as a group, and then just save the whole thing as a PSD, right? All right, so what we want to do is under the File menu, where it says Automate, we're going to choose this command right here, Crop and Straighten Photos. Now, when I let up on the mouse button, what's going to happen is that Photoshop is going to look for any of those surrounding white areas, and then it's going to crop each individual image and place it into its own separate document window. So when all is said and done, we should have 3 documents open. The one you're seeing right now in the background, the original, and then 2 new document windows, one for each of these images that was in the group scan. All right, now this is pretty amazing stuff. We'll go ahead and choose Crop and Straighten Photos. Photoshop's off doing its thing. All right, let's go ahead down here, click on this button and choose Standard Screen Mode so we can see all these images here at once. And we've got, there's our Group Scan 1, right? It names them Group Scan Copy, and then Group Scan Copy 2 uses the same naming convention and just puts numbers after them. It's up to you to do a save as and name these guys differently, because these are currently not saved. But there's the first image that was auto-cropped and straightened. Here's the second that was auto-cropped and straightened, and here is our original. Okay, so pretty simple stuff. It does a pretty good job. As you can see, there's a little bit of white kind of hanging off on the edge there, and we can always fix that by just going to our crop tool and manually going in here. I've got my snap on. I'm going to go ahead and turn off that snap because it's snapping to the edges, and I don't want to do that. So go ahead and just clean up just a little bit of what it missed. Go ahead, press return or enter. That's looking pretty good, and we can do the same thing here too as well. Of course, we can always use the canvas size option as well if we want to change the crop. But for the most part, Photoshop did a really good job of taking these images that are in the group scan and saving them into their own document windows, auto-straightening them and auto-cropping them. It's just a great way to save time, is to group scan and apply that automated command here in Photoshop. All right. In the next movie, I'd like to show you how you can also work with a whole group of images and create a simple context sheet here in Photoshop.